All right, strap in, everyone, because today we are diving into a research paper so new the ink's practically still drying.
Fresh off the digital press, published just this week, October 2nd, to be precise.
Talk about cutting edge. And for this deep dive, we're tackling a big one in the world of AI, reasoning.
We see AI writing poems, composing music, even coding, right? But this research, it's about pushing AI beyond just pattern recognition, getting into actual logic. Like, how do we make AI think things through?
So less about topping the charts and more about, like, solving a logic puzzle, getting AI to think, not just, well, regurgitate.
Exactly. And that is where O1 comes in, a brand new AI model from OpenAI. And it's built for reasoning, specifically.
Okay, so not your average AI then.
Yeah.
What makes O1 so special?
Well, what's fascinating about O1 is what it's showing us about, well, how AI learns. See, it's not just about building an AI for reasoning from scratch. It's about, it's like understanding how an AI's upbringing, its training, influences how it approaches even these logical tasks.
So even if you send an AI to logic school, its early education still kind of shapes how it thinks.
Exactly. Think about it this way, like, even if you teach someone a brand new skill, the way they learned in the past, all those experiences, they still color how they approach that new task. It's not clean slate.
Interesting. So what's the big takeaway here about O1? What did these researchers discover?
Well, they found that even when you build an AI specifically for, for logic and reasoning, it still shows traces of how it learned to process language, at the beginning.
Okay, so it's like those early language lessons, they're like still imprinted in its AI brain. So how does that even, like, how does that show up?
Well, remember how we were talking about LLMs, those large language models, and how they're like really good at predicting the next word in a sentence?
Right, like finishing your sentences.
Exactly, yeah. And that's trained through a process called autoregression.
hmm
Essentially what that means is that these models learn by predicting what comes next over and over and over again on a massive scale.
Right, like predicting the ending of a sentence, but like with millions of sentences. Millions and millions.
Exactly. And so it's so fascinating is that O1, even though it's, purpose-built for reasoning, it still has these embers of autoregression, as the researchers call it. It's like it's almost like muscle memory, but for AI.
Yes.
Like even when it's learning these new skills, those old habits, they kind of influence how it performs.
Embers of autoregression. That's a pretty it's a pretty evocative way to put it. So what does that mean in practice? Like how do those embers actually affect how O1 reasons?
Well, they found that O1's performance, it's still, somewhat influenced by how probable something is or how common something is. Like when it's faced with a task that has a really predictable pattern, like something that it's seen a lot of variations of before, O1, it excels.
Yeah.
But give it something unusual, something that, kind of goes against the grain of all that past training data.
It's got to hit the mental gym a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs more time to process, to work through those old pathways, which in AI, oftentimes that translates to needing more computing power. It's like the difference between, solving, I don't know, like a simple addition problem versus tackling like a really complex equation.
So it's not that O1 isn't capable of complex reasoning. It's more like it has to work through kind of its comfort zone to get there.
Exactly. And that's what makes this research so compelling, right? It's not just about O1's successes. It's about what its limitations tell us about kind of, the inner workings of AI in a way.
Okay, I'm with you. So we've got this new AI. It's designed to be a logic whiz, but its past training still influences how it thinks. So, like, what does this actually mean for, for the future of AI development? Like, why should we care about these embers? So we've got this new AI. It's designed to be a logic whiz, but its past training still influences how it thinks. So, like, what does this actually mean for, for the future of AI development? Like, why should we care about these embers?
It's about really understanding that AI, it doesn't just magically reason the way we do, right? It carries like these echoes of its training, of its whole learning journey, in basically everything it does.
So it's like, even though O1 is doing logic puzzles now, it still remembers those nights it spent, like, cramming vocabulary words.
Exactly. And that's really crucial because it highlights how important the training data is. Like the more diverse, the more representative that training data is, the better these AI models are going to be at handling new challenges, unexpected stuff.
Makes sense. You don't want an AI that's only good at solving problems it's seen before.
Right, exactly. We need AI that can adapt, think critically, and that all comes from understanding these these subtle nuances, right? This isn't just about making AI smarter. It's about making it more reliable, trustworthy, all of that.
So those embers are actually a pretty big deal, then.
Well, absolutely recognizing them.
Yeah.
Huge step forward. It's like finally understanding why your friend always taps their foot before a big presentation, right? It's like this leftover thing from their childhood stage fright, even if they're like a super confident speaker now. These insights, they help us predict and navigate those little quirks in AI, just like in people.
That's a great analogy, and it really makes this research feel so much more relevant. It's not just about lines of code, it's about understanding like the very nature of learning, of intelligence, whether it's artificial or our own.
Precisely. And the more we learn about how AI learns, the more we discover about our own cognitive processes too. It's like this fascinating feedback loop.
Wow. So to wrap this all up for our listeners today, what's like the big takeaway message you want them to remember about O1 in this new research?
Just remember that when it comes to AI, even the most advanced systems, they still carry those traces of their past. This research on O1 and these embers of autoregression, it's a reminder that building truly intelligent AI, it's not just about raw computing power, right? It's about understanding these subtle and often hidden ways these systems learn and how they evolve. It's a journey of discovery, and we're really just at the beginning.
It certainly is. Huge thank you to our expert for walking us through this incredible research. And to our listeners, keep those brains buzzing, keep those curiosity fires burning. Until next time.